Everybody, and welcome to the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, February 6th. My name is Todd Wilchin. I am the chair of the county board this year. On my left, fellow commissioners Bill Avery and Deb Shore. On my right, commissioners Roma Amundsen and Vice Chair Jennifer Brinkman. Joining us this morning from the County Attorney's Office, Jennifer Holloway. From the County Clerk's Office, the County Clerk Dan Nolte and Kelly Lundgren. From the County Board Office, we have the Chief Administrative Officer, Carrie Egan, and the Deputy Chief Administrative Officer, Ann Ames. Now, if you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, would you please start the agenda?
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, a copy of all written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available from the county clerk staff at the front of the hearing room. The material can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Agenda item 1 are minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on Tuesday, January 30th, 2018.
Move approval. Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the last Board of Commissioners meeting. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 2 are claims. Approval of all claims processed through February 6, 2018.
Move approval.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve all claims processed through today. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 3 is a public hearing. It says public hearing regarding a proposed sale of property generally located at 2202 South 11th Street in the city of Lincoln, Lancaster County, Nebraska, which includes declaring that the property no longer serves a county purpose, determining fair market value, and setting the date for the sale of the property.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing for the proposed sale of Traybert Hall. Anyone wishing to testify in support? Come on up.
Good morning, Karen Peterson, Director of Property Management.
Do you solemnly swear from that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. All right. I am here this morning to suggest that the Traybert Hall sale go forward, and I would suggest an asking price of $2,025,000, and I have a copy of the most recent appraisal to back up or used as evidence for that sale price, and I would like to submit that today.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Ms. Peterson? Okay. Would you please come up and talk on the mic? Thanks, Mr. Egan. You want to?
I don't-
We
should
also
I
need
s-
some.
Maybe I should swear you in?
Well, I'm just advising the board. I don't know if I'm testifying. I think I would like the board to ask questions about whether the property is needed for a county purpose and whether it's surplus.
Thank you.
Got a sworn witness.
Okay.
Okay, so Commissioner Amundsen?
All right. Just a question regarding the building.
Yes.
Is it surplus?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is currently vacant.
It's currently vacant right now?
Yes, it is.
And so what is the condition, I guess?
Well, the condition based on the appraisal is fair to average. The real estate itself, or the building, when I refer to the real estate, actually has a really tough outer shell, and structurally it's fairly sound. It's functionally obsolete for our purposes. I think with the rezoning, to put it in an R4 with a landmark overlay and that attached special use permit gives opportunities for a private developer to use it in either an office setting, as it currently has, as the county has used it, to revert it back to residential use or some combination thereof.
Could you speak to the parking, please?
Parking, we've got a couple of easements that favor the property. One's a public access easement. The other one is a parking easement that brings in an additional 131, or the easement itself brings in approximately 20 extra parking stalls. We've got about 131 stalls, which is adequate for both office and residential use.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Is anyone else wishing to testify in support? Anyone wishing to testify in opposition? Or in the neutral capacity? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing regarding the proposed sale of Trabert Hall. Mr. Clerk, please see the correlating item.
Next is number 4, new business. 4A is a resolution regarding the proposed sale of property generally located at 2202 South 11th Street, legally described therein, and located in the city of Lincoln, Lancaster County, Nebraska, which includes declaring that the property no longer serves the county purpose, determining fair market value, and setting the date for the sale of the property.
Move approval.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second regarding the proposed sale of Trabert Hall. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Sure.
I'm sorry, excuse me, Commissioner Avery.
Looking over the resolution, I see wording that we might want to know about, and that is in the third whereas, we state that county is required to set a date within 2 months of the date of public hearing for sale to the highest bidder. I wonder if that will restrict our ability to sell to, I see Mr. Egan is coming forward. You don't know my
Maybe the
question.
lawyer should be advising you. The statute.
Don't know my question yet. I didn't ask you.
Well, go ahead. I'm anticipating.
Yeah, well, if we have to sell to the highest bidder, wouldn't that eliminate some possible candidates that we know about who would like to use this for an important public purpose, but at a much reduced rate than what we're now about to approve?
The statute also provides that the bids have to be substantially close to fair market value. And I think that's a judgment call by the board. So you do not have to take the highest bid if it's substantially below fair market value. At that point, you could, and the sale will not occur, the finalization of the sale will not occur at the sheriff's sale. It has to be brought back for the board to act on it as a board. So the board could reject all bids and then proceed to sell the property in the best interests of the county, which could include the situation you've talked about before with Centerpoint. So if we get a $2 million bid, then that's pretty
Be
close
hard
to
to
fair
say
market
no to
value.
that.
But it doesn't specify it exactly in the statute. The board would have, I think, a wide discretion in choosing to accept one of the bids or reject all bids.
Commissioner Amundson and then Commissioner Shore.
I do have a question regarding the bids. Perhaps bids do come in, and there may be one that has a better closing date or something like this, or the conditions are better. Is that something that we can deal with?
I don't think they've gotten into that type of specificity with conditions on closing. It's usually just a monetary offer. Every one of these I've ever seen, they just bid a
Okay.
price at the public sale, which is conducted by the sheriff in the building next door.
Commissioner Shore and then Commissioner Avery. has
And
a
so
question.
just so we know what the process is, then the top bid, the highest bid, then will be brought back to us on a Thursday to discuss, or so we're all aware of?
You could do it that way, yes.
Okay.
I think final action would be at a Tuesday meeting.
Okay.
But it would require additional action by the board. It's not finalized in any circumstances on these sales by the sheriff. It's always finalized by the county board.
Okay.
Commissioner Avery.
Isn't there an opportunity here perhaps to add some language such as highest responsible bid? And we define what responsible is?
Well, you could, it's not, that's the language in the purchasing statute about, that it has to be the most responsible bid to provide the services called for in the contract. Here, you're technically selling surplus property, so if they have the money and
That's responsible.
that's responsible. Yeah, if they don't have the money, then the deal is canceled. But I think the wiggle room in the statute is that if all offers are substantially below fair market value, the board can reject all bids and then proceed to sell the property in the best interests of the county.
But can the county accept one that is substantially lower in the public interest?
I believe you probably could, because it's in the discretion of the board. You have an attorney sitting over here, and I don't want to get too far into the realm of giving legal advice, so
Well, this is the time to talk about it.
it certainly is.
Jen Holloway. So what I know of the process is that under the statute that you have the power to reject the bids if there is no bids or if they are substantially lower than fair market value, like Carrie Egan had said. As to the discretion of the board, that I am not 100% aware of, but something I can look into. I know if you're not going to follow the surplus sale proceeding, then you'd have to find another way to sell the process or sell the building under your statutory powers. And that's, again, something we can look into.
But that would be postponing a vote here today?
No, it would we could probably hold off on the resolution. And then if need be, if you guys are going to sell it in a different way, then we'd have to look into that and revise the resolution.
Well, but I think we've already looked at the other avenue with a potential buyer, which was through the Health and Human Service use of the building. And that was something that we did not pursue. And so I don't know of any other ways we'd be able to sell the property other than,
No, those would be the two ways. You
Right.
either declare it surplus and go the process that you're following here, and then if you get bids that are substantially below fair market value, you have the discretion to reject them. I think the question was, would the board have the discretion to go ahead and accept one of those bids? You probably could, but you could also then negotiate for the sale to the same afterwards. You could reject all bids and then sell the property in the best interest of the county in a separate procedure. And once you followed the surplus property procedure, then that gives you a lot more authority on how you sell the property, for what price, and for what purpose, if any.
right, so
Right, yeah.
following if we declare this property surplus
Right.
and we go a public sale route, then we are bound to accept any purchase price that is substantially market value.
Yes.
And if it's not, regardless, it comes back to county board.
Right.
Then we can reject, and then that's the time that the county board can make those decisions about what is the best use of the property.
Right.
And we can be selective, and we can take into consideration what a responsible
Right, and the
party
purpose
or-
that they're using.
Right.
What you were considering before was selling property that could still be used for a county purpose under your human services provisions under, I think it's 23103.05, that you have the power to sell property that is going to be used for providing human services.
Right.
And that's a specific authority, and that's the only situation other than the surplus property route that you could use.
Correct.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay. Hearing none. Mr. Clerk, we have a motion and a second. Would you please call the roll?
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes,
Avery,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 4B is a subscription agreement between DTN and Lancaster County on behalf of Lancaster County Emergency Management for weather radar services. The county will pay $420 per month for the services.
Good morning, Jim David, Saber Director, Lincoln Lancaster County Emergency Management. This is just an adjustment to the agreement that we already have in place. We were paying $450 a month, and we were able to restructure that to reduce our monthly payment to $420 a month. So again, it's not a significant amount of money, but I want to commend my Deputy Director, Mark Hosking, and Planning Specialist, Patty Talamonte, for paying very close attention to those things to take advantage of the opportunity. If and when we can save some money, we certainly want to do that. So again, we're still maintaining the same level of service, which is very good. We're just able to save a few dollars each month in doing that.
move approval. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the subscription agreement with DTN. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes,
Avery,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. C is an agreement between Casper Canine Training Center, Phil Durst, and Lancaster County on behalf of the Lancaster County Sheriff's Office to purchase one canine for law enforcement purposes. There is no cost to the county.
Good morning, Terry Wagner, Lancaster County Sheriff. Mr. Phil Durst has been very generous, and his family have been very generous. They purchased our last canine and have offered to purchase this one, so there'd be no cost to the county for the dog. Any equipment and training that the animal would need comes out of our canine fund, which is we have an anonymous benefactor who donates money into that fund to provide those extra needs for the dogs, veterinary care, equip their vehicle, all of the other types of accessories that the animal might need. So there truly is no cost to the county for obtaining one of these dogs.
You, Commissioner Shore?
Have you historically had two dogs, or is this
This is a third dog. This will be a single-purpose dog, as but the other two are dual-purpose, where they do protection and tracking, and they serve several purposes. This one will be solely narcotics detection.
Interesting.
Any other questions for the sheriff?
I will move approval.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the agreement for a canine for the county sheriff's office. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. D is an amendment to Nebraska Medicaid Participating Provider Agreement with Nebraska Total Care, Inc. The amendment corrects the legal name of the Crisis Center from Mental Health Crisis Center in Lancaster County to Lancaster County of Nebraska, doing business as Mental Health Crisis Center.
Move approval.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to amend the provider agreement with Nebraska Total Care. Any discussion? Just a note for the public record that since my wife does work for Nebraska Total Care, I will be abstaining from this vote. With that, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Abstain.
Motion carries 4 yes, 1 abstention.
Mr. Clerk, would you,
If I may interject just briefly, this is the appraisal that Karen referred to. I think it should be accepted by the clerk. And I think there was adequate reference made to it during her testimony that this is the basis of the fair market value, so this should be part of the record for the hearing. Because I think there was an adequate basis laid that you don't need to reopen the hearing to accept it.
okay, thanks.
4E is a professional services contract between Olson Associates and Lancaster County on behalf of the Lancaster County Engineers Office to assist in the development of a transportation strategy which identifies best management practices for system preservation, optimization, and growth. The anticipated completion date is September 2018. The cost of county is $95,000.
Pam Dingman, Lancaster County Engineer. So this is the contract that we've talked about in the staff meeting a couple times that goes in conjunction with the creation of the infrastructure task force. And so this is the mechanism that will kick this project off, and I'm really excited to get going on it so we can figure out what is best for Lancaster County's infrastructure.
Any questions for Ms. Steeman?
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the professional services contract with Olson and Associates. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. F is a recommendation from the purchasing department and the county engineer to award a contract to MMC Contractors for RTU replacement. The total cost of the county is $98,245.
Pam Dingman, Lancaster County Engineer. So in remodeling and rehabbing properties, nothing comes easy. This is a bid to replace our air handler. It was estimated in our budget for the general fund at $110,000, so it did come in under budget. Technically, it will be very close because we had to hire an engineer to go ahead and spec the equipment, and we also had to do a structural evaluation of our roof, because it turns out that air conditioning and air handling units are smaller than they were in 1994, but that they weigh more. So it's been determined that the roof can handle the load of this unit, and we are excited as we've had to reset this unit a couple times around Christmas and several times this fall. So it is limping along, and it will be good to get it replaced.
Okay, any questions for the county engineer?
Move approval?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the purchase agreement and award the contract to MMC Contractors. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. G is a contract with Jim Peterson Auction Company to provide annual unclaimed property auction services. The term of the contract is 1 year from the date of execution. The cost of the county is not to exceed $10,000.
Move approval?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the contract with Jim Peterson Auction Company. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. H are amendments to the following contracts for the annual supply of vehicle equipment, maintenance, parts, and equipment. The amendments renew the contracts from February 10th, 2018 through February 9th, 2019. This includes County Contract C-15-51 with A Street Auto Parts in an amount not to exceed $1,000. County Contract C-15-52 with CarQuest Auto Parts in an amount not to exceed $4,000. County Contract C-15-53 with Factory Motor Parts in an amount not to exceed $20,000. County Contract C-15-54 with Utility Parts Service doing business as Napa, Nebraska, in an amount not to exceed $28,000.
Move approval of the 4 contracts?
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to amend 4 contracts for the annual supply of vehicle equipment, maintenance, parts, and equipment. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. I is an amendment to County Contract C-16-90 with Jones Automotive, Inc. for the annual supply and installation of emergency equipment for law enforcement vehicles. The amendment revises the equipment and price list.
Move approval?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to amend the contract with Jones Automotive, Inc. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 5 are consent items. Settlement between James and Jill Roberts and Lancaster County for $2,000 regarding case number CI 17-102, Roberts versus Capital City Transfer Services, Inc. et al. Accept and place on file a letter from Gateway Dermatology providing notice of intent to terminate contract C-17-620. Right-of-way contracts with the following: Clayton and Stephanie DeShott, South 168th Street and Pella Road, in an amount of $622. Matterhorn LLC, South 168th Street and Pella Road, in an amount of $496. Bobby and Paula Purviance, co-trustees, South 96th Street and Stagecoach Road, in an amount of $692.
Move approval of the consent items? Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent items. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 6 is public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to county business not on the agenda may do so at this time.
Okay, anyone from the public wishing to speak on an item not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please continue with the announcements.
The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting on Thursday, February 8th, 2018 at 8:30 a.m. in the Bill Luxford Studio. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold their next regular meeting on Tuesday, February 13th, 2018 at 9 a.m. in Room 112 of the County City Building, with the Board of Equalization immediately following. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commission@lancaster.ne.gov. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live on Link TV City. For the rebroadcast schedule, visit lincoln.ne.gov. Meetings are also streamed live on Link TV and can be viewed on YouTube.
I move we adjourn.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. Please call the roll.
Avery,
Yes.
Brinkman,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Wilchin.
Yes,
Motion carries 5-0.
we are adjourned.